Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. One of the largest storylines in college football heading into the 2023 season has been this Ohio State quarterback battle where you have Kyle McCord, Devin Brown battling it out. Now, I'm going to come on. It's been a very hype storyline. I'm going to tell you this. This isn't even the most important position battle on this Ohio State team heading into 2023. You take a look at the two quarterbacks. I mean, just because there's a quarterback battle, and as a Michigan fan, I know this all too well because I see a lot of the Michigan fans on Twitter saying Ohio State's going to get bad quarterback play. You take a look at across the country, 90% of these college programs would die to have this problem in their quarterback room, where you have two five-star quarterbacks battling it out. Whoever wins this quarterback battle, whether it's Kyle McCord, whether it's Devin Brown, is going to have success in this Ohio State offense. I actually want to talk about some different position battles that we're going to be getting into that I think are a little bit more important for Ohio State's success in this 2023 season. Now, before we get into it again, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support during the offseason breakdowns has absolutely been amazing. So if you guys do enjoy the content, you want to support the boys, consider subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, let me know in the comment section what you guys are thinking, your most important position battle, who you think starts at quarterback, because we'll certainly talk about that as well. Without further ado, let's get into it. And the reason I'm saying, and I'm not trying to underplay the importance of quarterback play at the college level. It is very, very important. But whoever wins this job is going to be stepping into, one, an offense run by Ryan Day, and then two, probably the most talented offensive skill position group that you'll see across the country. Now, I've made this joke a couple times this offseason. I, who have a horrible arm, I think I could put up some numbers in this offense. One, Ryan Day is calling the plays. Two, I'm throwing to multiple All-American wide receivers. I mean, you get into that wide receiver room. Got the defensive depth chart pulled up right now. You get into this offensive room, right? You got Marvin Harrison Jr., the number one wide receiver in the country. Julian Fleming, a guy that I think is significantly under talked about because you have Emeka Buku, who's probably the number two wide receiver in the country. You sprinkle in guys like Carnell Tate, Xavier Johnson, Noah Rogers, Brandon Inniss, Jaden Ballard. And then you look at the running back room, Travion Henderson, Mayan Williams. It's hard to see whoever wins the quarterback job, Kyle McCord, Devin Brown, struggling with all the talent that's going to be around them. You combine with Ryan Day calling the plays, running this offense. Where I'm kind of interested with this Ohio State team in terms of position battles, that's up front on the offensive line. I mean, you're replacing Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, and Luke Weipler, three guys that all went, I believe, in the top 100 picks in the NFL draft. Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, both being All-Americans. Luke Weipler, one of the best centers in the whole entire country. Replacing those guys, that's where I'm probably, I wouldn't say concerned, but that's where my attention has been in terms of reading these fall practice notes. Right. And from what it sounds like, I guess backtrack 1 second. Ryan Day bringing in Josh Simmons from San Diego State, I think said there's a couple ways you could take it. One, we're just trying to get some more depth and competition in this tackle room. There's another way where it's like, hey, we don't love where we're at in terms of offensive tackle play. We got to add another body. And so to kind of break it down, it sounds like Josh Simmons is going to go back over to left tackle. Josh Fryer coming back to right tackle. Those are the guys that sound like are going to be your starters. But that's probably the position where I'm kind of most intrigued at not only who starts, but how is that tackle play look? I heard Luke Montgomery, the true freshman, is also pushing for a job. That's, I think, I wouldn't say key to the season because you do need good quarterback play, whether it's Kyle McCord or Devin Brown. But I think replacing Paris Johnson and DeJuan Jones and Luke Weipler, those are going to be the positions that I'm most concerned about, like kind of replacing. So you're going to get good quarterback play. Again, at the end of the day, Kyle McCord, Devin Brown, two of the more talented quarterbacks you'll see across the country. How well can you keep those guys protected? Not saying Ohio State fans took the tackle play with DeJuan Jones and Paris Johnson for granted. I think the national media is a little bit because they're just focusing on the quarterback play. When you had two All-American tackles with one of the best centers in the country protecting C.J. Stroud, all three of those guys go away. And so how well does this offensive line come together? I think it's a massive storyline. And also, I mean, the center position, you're breaking in a new quarterback, and you got to have your center on their P's and Q's. So whether it's Carson Hinsman, whether it's Victor Cutler Jr., I mean, that's another position to monitor in a meaningful way. And again, we're going to be taking a look at a few different position groups, but I'm not trying to undersell the importance of finding the quarterback that's going to run this offense. All I'm saying is, I trust Ryan Day to find that quarterback, and I trust whether it's Kyle McCord or Devin Brown to play at a high level, because both of those guys are really solid. They're going through a competition that breeds the best. I think the quarterback controversy or the quarterback question mark at Ohio State, probably one of the more overplayed conversations according to the national media. Now, there are a couple different position groups that I kind of want to take a look at on the defensive side of the ball too. We've talked extensively about the defensive line. I mean, that is going to be a group that goes, 3 deep on like almost every position on the defensive line, headlined by legit NFL prospects, guys like Michael Hall Jr., JT, Jack Sawyer. That's going to be a great group. And you have guys like Kenyatta Jackson Jr. coming off the bench. The front seven for Ohio State is going to be really interesting, or really good on the defensive line. I'm kind of interested in what they do with linebacker play. I mean, Tommy Eichenberg was one of the best linebackers in the country last year. I have a hard time seeing him come off the field. You really know what you have with Steel Chambers, Cody Simon, two really, really good linebackers. CJ Hicks, that's another position that I'm reading as much as I can about CJ Hicks. I saw him in the spring game. He looks like he could be an All-American linebacker. I mean, you know what he was out of high school. You know the physical talent that CJ Hicks brings to the table. Now I'm kind of keeping an eye on, can CJ Hicks kind of emerge as being one of those starting linebackers, or at least working himself in with that Ohio State linebacker group? Because if he does, and you're telling me CJ Hicks is beating out a guy like Steel Chambers to start at one of those linebacker spots, I mean, that's telling me that CJ Hicks has really put it together at that linebacker position. Now, the last battle I want to talk about is in the cornerback room, where I think a lot of Ohio State fans, and including myself, who's kind of an outside observer, Denzel Burke's your cornerback one. I think most people agree with that. I think everyone assumed that Davison Ignosin, true freshman All-American last year coming in from Ole Miss, was going to be a lock for that cornerback 2 role. Sounds like Jordan Hancock's really putting it together again. Another really, when you talk about Ohio State, you kind of talk in a similar manner that you talk about Georgia, where it's like you're not surprised by any of these guys emerging because all these guys were blue chip recruits coming out of high school. Jordan Hancock, former top 50 nationally ranked player, sounds like he's emerging as one of those cornerbacks. Now, that doesn't mean Davison Ignosin's not going to play, but I'm really interested in to see how that cornerback room shakes out. And the nickelback is another important position that I think is really undervalued when you're talking about the Jim Knowles scheme. Jahad Carter, I love his fit in this Jim Knowles system. Interested to see what he does and how much he plays. And the last guy I want to talk about, Sonny Styles. Another guy, Lathan Ransom, Josh Proctor, 2 guys that are coming back, and you know what they are. They're really, really quality safety play in the back end. Sonny Styles, you didn't get to see a ton of. Sonny Styles is a guy that just the similar conversation we have about CJ Hicks. I saw a picture of Sonny Styles and Lorenzo Styles Jr. standing next to each other. Sonny Styles looks different, like 100%, kind of like a special player. If you see CJ Hicks or Sonny Styles playing a lot for Ohio State come week 1 and come week 2, what does that tell you? They're putting it together, because they don't need to be thrusted into starters as young kids, right? I mean, both these guys coming into their second year, you don't need to force to get them on the field, because you have guys like Lathan Ransom, you have guys like Josh Proctor, Tommy Eichenberg, Steel Chambers. But if they do play, what does that tell you as an Ohio State fan? They're ready, because they don't need to. So there's a couple different position battles that I have kind of my attention towards. Again, not underselling the importance of this Ohio State quarterback battle. That being said, for me, I think there are a lot of other position battles that I'm monitoring for Ohio State coming out of fall camp that might be more important, because I think you're going to get good quarterback play, whether it's Kyle McCord, Devin Brown. Can you get some special play from guys like Sonny Styles and CJ Hicks? And can you get really good offensive line play from guys like Josh Fryer and Josh Simmons? That's kind of the bigger story for me with this Ohio State team heading into 2023. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. If you do enjoy the content, again, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.